set all our spirits free. So I wanna do right all of my life.
This is a follow-up to the first video that I did on GM and Chrysler ignitions being recalled. One of the things I want you to paint a picture in your mind is, number one, we have a president that wants war. All of our troops are off in other nations, and they keep sending out more. So we have hardly anyone to protect our borders. And most of our men are incarcerated because of foreign banker laws that we allow into the country because of debt. And now we have a president that's trying to conquer, and a media that's trying to conquer our ability to build our defenses. Where are our defenses built? In our manufacturing. So what they're trying to do is financially bankrupt or force money to be given like bailout. You have to understand something. If I give you $100,000 and you owe $200,000 to me, and I give you another $100,000, you're just more of a slave. And I can dictate what you do in your life a little bit more. When I give you that other $100,000, I have other contracts and other agreements and other deals. I want you to buy parts. When they come in with their money, and GM was a fool for taking it, Ford did not. We still have Ford to build our weapons. But you have to understand, nothing on these cars are made in America. So if they're getting sued for ignition systems, you have to understand that these ignition systems come from foreign countries. And the foreign countries are also controlled by the banks. And when you study ignition systems, why do they want control of ignition systems? Because of the smart meters, electronic weaponry that I've been talking about, and chemtrails. There is a tie into shutting down the engines of every car if they can control the ignitions. And what this is all about is, if they produced, you have to understand something. This New World Order has been an agenda for hundreds of years. So they pre-planned and they sold these faulty ignitions. This is my theory. You can believe it or not. It's up to you. But talking to a guy that was in the automotive business, in banking, in management, and also in the advertising media part of it. So I know this business extremely well. I was considered one of the top internet advertising consultants in the country, and I have awards to prove it. So I've met with a lot of these dealer principals. So let me get back to this. So let's say they bought the ignition and they put in a device in there that, with their infrasonic and their smart meter, their radiation, their HARP weaponry, that they can kill these ignitions. In other words, light the cars on fire. If GM doesn't conform to the New World Order, it was a backup plan. GM did not build the ignition system. And I can promise you they didn't build it. They don't build anything on this car. Maybe the frame. And it's, you have to understand something. The GM financing is a total separate entity than GM manufacture. And if you understand that when the bailouts happened, government got involved in GM. If government's involved, that means banks are involved. A new CFO was assigned. All of this stuff was going on. And what you have to understand is that this is just another demise of your country. They're trying to dominate your country. If they control the auto companies, they control our ability to make weapons. Now, there is a backup plan. I've said this on many of my videos. We get rid of all of this HARP and infrasonic, smart meters, everything, every agenda that every president since JFK put in our country. Get rid of it all. Bring our troops home. Let the men out of prisons if they have misdemeanors, or let them all out. These are all British foreign laws. And the reason why they want them in the prison, so they can drone strike the prison. Guys, we're at war. Right now, every war has been financed by the banks for 300 years. Both sides. And they build the weapons. If you don't know this, you are not very intelligent. You have to understand that they have financed every war. They own the media. They own your government. They have bought off Congress, the majority. Okay? And they're killing off the other Congress. They're demonizing in the media. So everything that the media is telling you, the cars are blowing up, the opposite of the reality is truth. And I'm talking in every facet of the media. Everything that they come up with is completely the opposite of reality. If a guy is a racist, then the opposite is true. He's married to a black woman and he owns a predominantly black basketball team. You have to understand this. How can a man be a racist if he's married to a black woman and having sex with a black woman and he owns and he bought with his money a predominantly black basketball team? It's just fiction, guys. If you believe that TV, then you have sold your soul to foreign country. You're not an American anymore. Because that media is not American. I don't care if it says Fox or CNN. I don't care what it says. Ted Turner and his cronies are controlling it all, and only 6 people own every media and every radio station in the country. And you notice these radio stations are promoting, don't buy a GM. They're trying to collapse part of America. Now, guys, I don't have anything to do with it. I don't work for them. I don't get any money from them. I have no reason to defend them except that I love my country, and I love my real country. I don't care about foreign money, Federal Reserves, presidents that sold their soul to other countries and banks. Forget that. I want my country back. I want to have freedom. I want the rights that I was inherently born with and that I was inherently given to by God, my creator, not by some British laws in some British courtroom. I say British banker. Okay, it's banker controlled. I don't go to banker controlled religions. I don't go to banker controlled anything. You are going to buy a car with a symbol, a Freemasonic symbol of the Saturn and the owl's horns or whatever it is, or the rings of Saturn. If you're going to buy a car like that, then that's your mistake. I don't care if it's built in Ohio. I don't care where it's built. It's not American. And they're not going to turn their manufacturing plants into building weapons to protect our states and our borders. That's why these foreign companies have been implanted into the United States. We need to build our own cars and kick them out. Because if we don't, how are we going to build our weapons? We need to take their bailouts and say, shove it. We don't want your money, period. And let me tell you something. You go and you close down these auto manufacturers. Everything that's not built by American hands, get rid of them. Now, I'm not telling you to be prejudiced. People are American and they're Chinese. I love all people. If you want to live in this country, then you stay in this country. But we're going to build our own cars and we're going to protect our own border. We're going to bring our soldiers home. We're going to let our men out of jail. And we're going to get rid of all this European influence in our country. And we're going to be free again. We're going to go by the Constitution and we're going to go by God. And we're going to go back to real God-like oneness, consciousness of God, clarity. We're going to implant American values in our school system. And we're going to stand strong with GM and Chrysler and Ford. And we're going to unite these companies together. And we don't buy anything. You are a complete traitor to your own country. Right now, you're being sprayed with chemtrails. Your water is being poisoned by European bankers. Chemtrails are being sprayed on you by European money. They're killing your children. They're giving you flu shots of poison through eugenics and Mr. Sellout of America, Rockefeller, through IG Farben. Pharma corporations are corrupt. Quit taking the pills. They're killing you. Foreign pharma corporations. Stop buying food at Walmart. Foreign corporations dominating your cities and your towns, not allowing people to make a living. Are you starting to see the picture now? Should I paint another picture for you? Everything. We're going to print our own money. We're going to get rid of foreign religion. We're going to get rid of everything that's foreign. And I can tell you what's foreign, and literally everything you have is foreign. By the way, you'll have to turn off that idiot box television set because it's foreign, banker-owned media. 6 men own every media corporation, even radio. Turn off the radio. Quit buying what they're selling you. And when that media talks, you need to start believing the opposite, exactly the opposite of what they're saying. Don't let the media conform your mind. GM is the heart and soul of America. What we need to start doing is buying parts that are made by America. Everything that car is made of has to be made in America. We can do this united as one. All we have to do is build our own military and strengthen our borders. The North American Union that Bush and Obama signed, those Nazi banker-owned president puppets, have to go away. We do not want to merge with another country. No way. The United States has to be the United States. We can't have infiltration of any other country. And when this happens, and we do this for the next 30, 40 years, you will see an America that your children will be proud of. And you will be heroes. You will be the men and women who decided to stop taking the bullshit of these bankers, these foreign banks that have invaded our land. They own your house. Your house is lent money from the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is not American. People, do not move out of your house. I don't care if you have to quit your job and stay home. Do not leave that house. That is your house. You have the right to your home. You have the right to your religion. And you have the right to live in this country. This is our constitutional and our God-like laws. We're going back to love, and we're moving away from war in the name of peace. We are sick of war in the name of peace. And we're going to build our relationships with other countries because the bankers have been destroying our reputation. These countries hate our guts. Because of the banks, all we have to do is say, we are not allowing the banks. You don't allow the banks. We're going to shut them down completely. And they can take their Israeli army and we will blow it all united as one. And we're not paying these Rockefellers and Rothschilds and these Morgan. We're not paying them nothing. And we're not buying anything that they're a part of. And all the doctors are going to be transformed to the American School of Natural Healing. We are tired of masking illnesses from pharma corporations. We're going to get back to the real healing that the shaman used to know about. We're going to implant foods back and crops and farmers back on our properties and our land. And then we're going to sue the Rothschild and Rockefellers and imprison them for chemtrailing and poisoning our soils. They have together over $900 trillion, and we can fix our soils with that kind of money. Dig 40 feet into the swamps and we can get some good soil. We can fix this issue. We don't act now. If we keep listening to that TV, just like Hitler's people did, they believe the media and they conform to all the laws. Everything that Hitler did was legal. This is what they're trying to do to us again. They're trying to create laws that rape and pillage our country. God bless.
This morning the sky, it was blue, but now it's turned to gray, overcast. I see the reflection in your eyes as they do a 10-mile high drive. Hush now, baby, don't you cry as grandmommy's singing you lullaby. She says, don't worry, baby, someday soon we're gonna eat the rich. The Secretary of Defense may conduct biological experiments. I guess Granny never told you sometimes life can be a bitch. And bide our time. Rats in a cage, guinea pigs on a stage. Hitler was a test, he was only a test, and now some bullshit's about to manifest. The human race has become completely enslaved.
In the 21st century, the world is experiencing difficult times. No matter how one chooses to look at things or how much of a positive attitude one tries to adopt, there is still a great deal of uncertainty amongst most people in regards to the future, and many of those who have taken the time to investigate and who are aware of such things see the situation as hopeless, and many feel powerless in the face of the New World Order Leviathan that is ever more quickly engulfing our civilization. Yet the reality is that people are not powerless at all. In fact, quite the opposite is true, for there is a very simple and effective way to stop the New World Order in its tracks. Let's be honest about it. The system that we live under is corrupt. It's rotten to the core. It's about self-service, and it's run by psychopaths and criminals, and everyone knows it. And they get away with it, and the world continues along in this dysfunctional manner, simply because we let it continue. So stop going along with it. Understand that the way to bring about real change in the world is through non-compliance to the system. And many ask, what is non-compliance? Does this mean I should quit my job and burn all my money? And the answer to any questions such as these is no, of course not. Non-compliance is about doing the right thing. It's about disconnecting yourself from the system, being responsible for your thoughts, your actions and your intentions, and it lies very much in realizing your own potential. Do what is right in all that you do. Realize your connection to others and think humanitarianly rather than economically. Don't base your life on the collection of useless trinkets or on social status. Do what is right in your heart. And doing what is right, understanding whether what you are doing is the right thing or not, is not something you have to decide. It's something that you already know in your heart if you would just look and be honest with yourself. If you are doing something that you need to justify to yourself with inner dialogue, then chances are that you're doing the wrong thing and are simply trying to talk yourself into allowing it. You know this. Knowledge of it is within your heart. You just have to look and you will find it. Understand how the energy works. Be aware of the energy you are drawing into yourself, of what you are manifesting with that energy, and what type of energy you are contributing back to the energy supply for others to draw upon. This is truly how it works. Realize your potential as a human being. Forget the imaginary restraints that have been placed before you by the academic system and the limitations you are told exist by science and religious teachings, and look at the whole spectrum. Because the fact is that each of these institutions functions only to compartmentalize knowledge. Each exists for the very purpose of limiting the scope of your understanding by locking you into a contained and restrictive paradigm. And until people begin to look beyond such imposed limitations, open their minds and make the connections between religion and science, they are never going to make the connections to themselves, to this reality, and to the Creator that men have called God. But to do this, and to gain a real understanding, requires both acceptance and self-responsibility. It requires that people act in a proactive manner. There are many who find such things difficult, those who would prefer someone else to come and save them. Yet such people desire the impossible, for they desire to be delivered into salvation and utopia without ever understanding the true nature of their world or even themselves. And this is very often due to the limitations of an imposed belief system. Now you can talk to those who embrace religion. You can sit them down and you can talk to them about God and about Satan, and they will converse with you eagerly, and they all very much believe in such things. But as soon as you put things like science, galactic laws, numerology or astrotheology into the equation, many just shut off. They say it's God's will, and they sit back and they wait for Armageddon. And some will even go so far as to say the pursuit of such higher understandings is demonic. And though on a different level, it's the same with many scientists. They understand the mechanics of it all, but many refuse to add spirituality into the picture and only adhere to laws that can be applied on a mechanical level. Both approaches are inherently flawed because neither will consider the arguments of the other, and both refuse to take into account, allow for, and even embrace the true nature of feelings and emotions. Yet feeling and emotion is the key to it all. Feeling and emotion is the language that is used to create and to mold reality. Feeling and emotion is the true nature of prayer, and it is also the language by which man may communicate with the Creator. What is the true nature of that divine entity that man has named God? The Creator is the intelligence that underlies all, the fabric that permeates all realities. The Creator exists as one, a single consciousness that is in essence a duality, both male and female, the Alpha and the Omega. This is why in every religious text in which the Creator speaks, it is in the plural. This is the nature of the divine matrix, connects all things, the consciousness of which we are all expressions. As self-awareness grows and realization of one's connection to this consciousness awakens within each person, institutionalized religions seek to externalize this force and suggest that God is something external from man, a benefactor that is looking down on us. Many so-called New Age religions attempt to internalize it and suggest that God is yourself, that God lies within. But both of these understandings are erroneous. Every being in creation, both you and I and every other person in this reality, is an eternal living soul expression of God, of the consciousness of the Alpha and Omega, just as every soul is male-female in nature. Yet despite this, our world, our species, and our consciousness is today rampant with division and distrust that is wholly illusionary and has been deliberately engineered into being. The manufactured creation of an institutionalized society. This has been going on for a very long time, and it has reached extreme proportions over the last century. During this time, man as a species has been shifted so far from his center and so far away from true reality that we have almost completely lost our humanity. We have been trained to be totally dependent upon the system. We have been robbed of our will, of our self-esteem, and our independence. We have been trained to believe whatever the TV tells us, and to think that image, social status, and the collecting of meaningless trinkets is the meaning of life. But most importantly, through television, the mass media, and through the ingestion of brain-inhibiting toxins such as fluoride, we have been robbed of our power to think critically and objectively. And most dangerously of all, through these same machinations, we have been robbed of our life skills. This last fact alone has placed mankind in the most vulnerable position of our entire recorded history. For at this point in time, we are, almost each and every one of us, completely dependent upon a corrupt corporate apparatus for our survival. An apparatus that places profits before people. It has nothing at all to do with the true nature of man, of our place upon and relationship to this earth or to each other. Yet we depend upon it for our food, for our housing, for our information, and even for our entertainment. It tells us what to do, where to go, what to look like, what to eat, how to dress, how to act, and what to think about the world and about each other. And we obey it while the world around us is raped. And if this corporate apparatus were suddenly to fail or shut down, every supermarket shelf in the world would be almost completely empty, and every resource we take for granted as being on hand for our daily lives would be depleted in a matter of just 3 days. And what then? Because if a person from almost any level of modern society was suddenly to be left alone to fend for themselves, there are very few who would be able to survive. It is of the utmost importance that mankind wake up to the reality of this and to the true situation the world is facing. Because the future we are allowing to be created, and to which we are also allowing ourselves to literally become completely enslaved to and totally dependent upon, is not going to be a future worth living in. What is required to fix it is for people to re-establish themselves as human beings and get back in touch with their humanity. Take control of your own life. Start growing your own food and take responsibility for yourself and realize and accept your connection to others. 120 years ago, a situation such as the one we are now in would have been unthinkable. So why then is it so prevalent today? It's because it has been done by design. The reason is that we are being set up. And I don't tell people this in order to scare them. I tell people simply because it is important they become aware of it, as it is a situation that can still be rectified once people become aware of the truth. Now there are many who choose to blame different groups for this. They claim Zionism is to blame, or it's the Bilderberg Group, or it's the international banksters and the money system that's the root of the problem. Yet the truth is that all of these things are merely differing mechanisms of control that are all interconnected. Certainly the money system is the head of the snake that's used to control it all, including the people. But ultimately, it's all one system, and all of these mechanisms are merely different layers of the same onion. They are differing levels in the hierarchy, and different arms of the same octopus. Both Zionism and the money system and any other visibly secret organizations are merely playing their own specific part. This conspiracy runs very deep. It goes back to ancient Egypt and even beyond. Step back and just look at the bigger picture. As I've repeatedly said in other films, there is a ruling bloodline that exists on this earth. It is very old and it has always ruled the earth. It is to this bloodline that the Bavarian Illuminati appears to have allied itself with some 230 years ago. This ruling class is known by many as the Sun Cult, and there is good reason for this, as it still carries out its ritualistic worship of Amun-Ra in the world today. It does this in full view, and has even hijacked other faiths to do it. Unbeknownst to the members of these religions, one purpose in doing this is to use these people to help channel the energy required to control this reality. There have been a great many people involved in this bloodline, both genetically and ideologically, and it is the upper echelons of this ancient sun cult who ultimately sit at the top and steer the ship of state. If the truth be known, there is already one world government in control of this planet. It's just that it's hidden in the shadows and governs the world through covert methods. The three most prominent of which are by controlling the flow of the world's resources, its manipulation of the global money supply, and most importantly, through the control over the flow of information. Now, archaeological evidence clearly shows us that there have indeed been civilizations as advanced as our own, and perhaps even in possession of technology that we are still yet to realize, that once existed on this planet in times long past. Archaeological evidence also clearly shows us that many thousands of years ago, the Earth suffered some kind of catastrophe. In fact, there have been several. The last one that was recorded in any discernible way was the deluge described in the Bible as the flood of Noah. The deluge did take place. It's recounted in many cultures, some going back even further than the Bible. It exists in Babylonian texts in the Epic of Gilgamesh. It even exists in the legends of Native Americans, of South American cultures, and even in the legends of the Australian Aboriginal, and in many other places besides. And this is not by coincidence. The deluge did in fact occur. At the time of the deluge, or possibly even in the catastrophe preceding the last one, there was indeed an advanced civilization that existed on this earth, and during one such catastrophe, technology was lost. Not just civilization, but actual hardware and important scientific records. It has been a painstaking process for those in control to regain this technology, and we have been allowed to breed in order that it may be recovered, and that control over Earth's resources is again secured by those who control this world. They have used us as the power to achieve these ends. Those who belong to this ancient cult are the keepers of the hidden knowledge, and these people understand that if you can control the emotions and belief of enough of the populations, you can control the entire species and quite literally create whatever reality you desire, and they have used our energy to create the world we now inhabit. The key to addressing this situation is to understand your own potential and understand the true nature of energy, vibration, and of frequency. Everything that exists in this reality consists wholly of differing frequencies of energy. The expression of every frequency that exists as every son-daughter, and every son-daughter that exists in creation is consciousness. The Creator is consciousness, and every soul in projection in this reality is an expression of that consciousness. Consciousness through creation is universally the same, and is pure Christ consciousness. Christ consciousness is the key. Once you get the picture that Christ consciousness, rather than the doctrines of institutionalized religions, is what it's all about, you understand everything about what's going on. Creation exists solely through the loving responsibility and intent of every soul in projection, every expression of the consciousness of the Creator. And this has nothing to do with institutionalized religion. Institutionalized religion has been devised by man to hide you from the truth and from the Christ consciousness that lies within you. Your inner thoughts and emotions literally affect the outer physical world around you. It is extremely important for people to understand that your feelings and the effect they have on the world around you are not something you can switch off and on at will. It's an ongoing thing that's happening all the time. Every conscious moment of your life you are communicating with the energy field around you. And every moment you are quite literally shaping this physical reality with your thoughts and your emotions and the energy you are releasing through them. Many people find such information to be somewhat discomforting, because with the understanding that your inner thoughts and emotions literally affect the outer physical world around you comes a great responsibility. How will you accept this responsibility? How will you now choose to live your life in the realization and true understanding of what energies you are putting back into the matrix for others to draw upon, and of how these energies, created by the choices you make, are literally shaping the physical world around you? Jesus was a Christ-conscious triune being in a projection. You are a Christ-conscious triune being in a projection, a thought in the mind of God, a manifestation of the expression of Alpha and Omega. The difference is that Jesus knew it, while most other people haven't figured it out yet. Every person living within this three-dimensional reality lives a completely illusionary existence. What man considers the ordinary events of everyday life on Earth have no counterparts in the higher realms of awareness. Every person dwelling on the Earth today is a living Christ triune being, subject to the third-dimensional mentalized illusion of this material plane. On Earth, each of you has 5 lower outer senses and 105 higher or inner senses you cannot normally access. Because of this, you are only able to perceive a very narrow bandwidth of this reality, and the way to unlock these higher senses is to understand the one law that governs this reality. There is only one law, and that is the law of absolute and unconditional love and service to the creation for the Creator. Evil is doing in practice the opposite of what you should be doing in principle. The reason is simple: disharmony is the result. What is thought of as evil is, quite simply, the presence of disharmony through acting in opposition to the one law. Evil is a choice, and the so-called battle of Armageddon that those of a religious persuasion are waiting for is, in actual fact, already being waged. It is a battle of energy that is being fought in a higher realm. It is a battle that is being fought on all levels, both spiritually and physically, and even electromagnetically. The weapons that are being used to wage this war are all around you. They are food toxins, electromagnetic radiation, and television. It is a battle of consciousness. It is being waged by occult means, and it is going on right now. The outcome of this war will be that man will either awaken his DNA, realize his true potential, and change this reality into one that embraces his connection to everyone and everything and to the Creator, or he will succumb, and in doing so, he will lose the final vestige of his humanity. We are right now on the precipice. We are teetering on the brink of one of these two realities. On one side lies salvation, and on the other, oblivion, while in our hands lies the choice. Look around you. This battle has been raging for many, many years. People are just kept distracted by design, and so for the most part, they haven't yet noticed. Free yourself of the distraction though, and it becomes very obvious and quite plain to see. We are not in the end days or even in the end hours. We are in the final minutes, and the choice of what the final outcome will be, the very key to winning, lies within each of you. All I can ask is that you each look within yourself, because when you look deep enough, you will find that the words I have spoken are true. Realize your inner power and embrace your true potential, because the truth will set you free. My friends, stop complying with this system. It's time to wake up.
There is no matter as such. All matter originates and exists only by virtue of a force which brings the particle of an atom to vibration and holds this most minute solar system of the atom together. We must assume behind this force the existence of a conscious and intelligent mind. This mind is the matrix of all matter.
Everything is energy. What you perceive with your five senses to be the solid world around you is actually nothing of the sort. It is simply differing frequencies of energy acting in harmony to form what our senses perceive as matter. The reality that we are experiencing every day and all matter within it is in fact a symphony. A symphony consisting in its entirety of light and of sound. Ultimately, there is nothing else. There is only these differing vibrational frequencies of light and sound. This was expressed more than eloquently in the book The Four Agreements, in which the author Don Miguel Ruiz wrote that it is not the stars that create the light, but rather the light that creates the stars. The universe in which we live is exceedingly vast. It is fractal in nature, and this is more significant than you may at first comprehend, because recent advances in science indicate to us that this entire universe actually exists within the center of a black hole. And reality exists as above and so below. Have you ever truly looked within yourself? Does it seem significant to you that each of the 100 trillion atoms that make up each of the 53 trillion cells that in turn make up the human body is itself structured as a solar system? Each one of these atoms consists of 99.999% empty space, and yet it is these empty atoms that make up the seemingly solid world both around you and within you. Each world a realm of infinite possibility and of infinite energy, and yet one is contained within the finite space of your body, as above and so below. At the heart of each atom, as at the heart of each cell, and at the heart of every living being, lies an energy so powerful and so mysterious that it had until recently remained elusive and undefined to modern science. What is contained within this energy is consciousness, and the form that it takes is that of a black hole. This is extremely significant, because what this understanding suggests to us is that within each atom of your body there also lies yet another seemingly endless universe, and that the universe in which we live also exists within the nucleus of an atom. To truly grasp the concept and the significance of this, one needs only to realize that all that actually exists within creation is consciousness. Consciousness composed of nothing more than pure energy. Everything is energy, and everything is consciousness, because the energy itself is conscious.
What is happening at this moment is discussed in all the Bibles and mythologies of the world. The ancient ones knew the cycles. The Hindus call these cycles the Yuga cycle, 24,000 years, in which we go through the gold, silver, bronze and iron age, just like we go through the yearly summer, winter, and the daily night and day. So we do this in the 24,000 year backward processional cycle. And we are at what the prophecies say is the time of the harvest, the time of the end of this wave of evolution of mankind, where certain ones ascend, awaken, remember who they are, and reclaim their divinity. What is really, in fact, going to happen is the galactic alignment in two respects. If you look at the galactic plane, if you imagine the galaxy as a very, very thin dish in the heavens, well, our sun, it's in a cycle of 24,000 years called precession of the equinoxes. And during that cycle, it spends 12,000 years above the equator of the Milky Way galaxy, the galactic plane, and 12,000 years below. So our sun is now sitting below that galactic plane, and it's popping its head through and it's passing that galactic plane right now as we speak, and on the 21st of December 2012 it'll be more over than under. The other aspect of this is that the equinoxes have been migrating around the heavens through the signs of the zodiac for 24,000 years. The vernal equinox occurs on the 21st of March. Now, at the moment, on the 21st of March, it's actually Pisces, because it's the sign that appears on the horizon on the 21st of March. That sign is the sign that we're in. Now, we've been in that sign, the sun has been in it at the equinox for 2,000 years. Now, it's right at the end of Pisces, and the new sign coming through is Aquarius. And the sun will be in Aquarius for 2,000 years. And Aquarius is an air sign. It's a fixed air. So its nature is quite different to the mutable water of Pisces. We've been in a mutable cross for 2,000 years. The equinoxes, and they've been in the mutable signs of Pisces. This is the March equinox, Virgo, the other equinox, and the solstices have been in Gemini, the solstice of June the 21st, and Sagittarius, December the 21st. Now what's happening is, as those equinoxes move around that clock and they come into the fixed signs, what's going to happen is this. The vernal equinox will be in Aquarius, the autumnal equinox will be in Leo, which is fixed fire, the solstice will go to Taurus, fixed earth, and the winter solstice will go to Scorpio, fixed water. Now these four signs are the fixed signs. So the Holy Cross, the divine cross in the skies, will be situated in their most natural home, the fixed signs. Well, in this age it's been in Pisces, which is mutable, and before that it was in Aries, which is cardinal. So now it gets to be fixed, and that is the alignment. That is what's taking place, because those signs there are very, very powerful, the fixed signs. They're very powerful in the transformation of the human consciousness. And in the Bible and in the holy books, they are the lion, the bull, the man, and the eagle. In Revelation, God is described as having the face of a man, the face of a bull, the face of an eagle, and the face of a lion. Well, that's the fixed signs of the zodiac. They're going home. The equinoxes and the solstices are going home. And that is what we're looking forward to. Just a great time in history to be living. It's just an amazing time. The great changes that we will see with our own eyes will just be stupendous. The new world of love is coming.